When I signed up to do this, nobody told me I was going to have to follow Baratunde. I'm not even the mayor of my own apartment. This doesn't seem fair. When we first hatched the idea of personal radio way back in 2004, we were kind of lumped together into this class of consumer websites that people referred to as, Web 2.0. While Web 1.0 really was all about the web, browser wars and search engines and electronic shopping carts filled with dog food that would get delivered to your door. But then the bubble burst, and we all hid under our desks for a couple of years. Actually, I had to hide under my desk for something like 4 years because I actually ran engineering at pets.com, which means I nearly destroyed the US economy by myself. So I had to take a little bit longer break than most. But then, when investments started to come back into the consumer internet in 2004, I think most of us dreamed about building a new crop of consumer websites. Pure websites bedazzled with Ajax and tagging and social media, but websites nonetheless. But maybe, at least in the literal sense, we got it sort of wrong with the name Web 2.0. Maybe what was really happening is that these new companies weren't so much about the web of browsers and HTML, but they were really a kind of entirely new breed of internet company. Because today, what we're doing is seeking out internet connections wherever they may be. Perhaps most dramatically in a new generation of smartphones from Apple and Google and RIM, but also the connections lurking in our televisions, our Blu-ray players, in our kitchen appliances, even in our cars. And with these connections, we can personalize and simplify in ways that were impossible before. Telephones give way to Skype, network TV gives way to Hulu, Kodak transitions to Flickr, on-demand yields to Netflix, radio becomes Pandora. And I think the story of Pandora sort of illustrates this transition pretty well. We spent the first 3 years of our life, so this goes back to 2005, and for 3 years we built Pandora on the web. By 2008 we had about 13 million listeners. Honestly, we felt pretty good about that. It seemed like a good milestone to get past 10 million listeners. But we knew that our potential audience wasn't just sitting in front of a computer. In fact, we knew that only 20% of traditional radio listening happens at work. And it was very clear from looking at the daily bandwidth curves that all Pandora listening was happening at work. No one listened at night. No one listened on the weekends. No one listened on national holidays. And so if we were going to completely reinvent the category of radio, and that was really our ambition, we thought about ourselves as a radio company, not a web company, we knew that we had to break Pandora free from the confines of the PC and let our users listen wherever they went. So we invested in every category of internet-connected device. Fast forward just 2 years, and we now have over 60 million people registered for Pandora in the US. And the amazing thing is, half of that listening takes place off a PC. 2 years ago, 0% of Pandora listening happened off the PC. Today, over half. And that's either on a mobile phone or one of more than 100 different consumer electronic devices that have integrated Pandora. Everything from televisions to Blu-ray players to tabletop radios, stereo equipment, set-top boxes, even automobiles. And this isn't bleeding edge. Consumers are demanding these services today. Just ask the automobile industry. The automobile industry moves incredibly slowly, typically. It takes 5 years to do anything. It takes 5 years to get an auxiliary jack added to the radio so that you can listen to your iPod plugged in or something. But we're working closely with all of the automotive OEMs to bring Pandora to the car this year and next. I'm amazed at how quickly they're moving. So if we're no longer building just for the web, but rather for this new internet-connected world, what's changed? What do we have to think about that we didn't before? Well, some things stay the same. We need to solve real problems. problems that the mainstream understands. Help me communicate, entertain me, educate me, connect me with others. And since your marketing is all word of mouth, you need to build solutions that people can understand as quickly and easily as they can understand it when a colleague comes up to them at work and says, you have to watch Modern Family on ABC. It's hilarious. We need to solve real problems, and we need to make our messages really simple. We need to personalize everything. We're talking about a world where there aren't 100 channels with nothing on, but 1 million channels, 1 billion channels. We need to help our users navigate that to take them to the content that they'll love. You know, personalization is really, literally job number one at Pandora. Getting just the right music to play on your stations is hard, and it's far from solved, but we're innovating every day, working to play just the music that you love with just the right amount of discovery, variety, familiarity, and repetition. And we've invested in all kinds of things through the years, hundreds of different features, social networking features, community features, music videos, on and on and on. And I can tell you that nothing really moves the needle at Pandora like enhancements to the personalization system. When we improve the playlist algorithms that drives that personalized experience, people listen longer, they come back more often, they tell more friends. Personalization is really the key to these kinds of services. We have to think about simplicity with more focus than ever before. The categories we're disrupting tend to be really simple. Push a preset button, music comes out. Pick a channel, The Sopranos comes on. Pick up the handset, there's a dial tone. We need a renewed focus on simplicity and ease of use. You're not going to get 4 levels of cascading AJAX-powered menus when your user is flying down the road at 70 miles an hour. We need to think about how we can make these services so simple that they work on a 2-line display in a car, that they're dazzling on a 60-inch television in the living room, and that they fit comfortably in the palm of your hand. You have to build your back-end systems, not to just be agnostic about the device that's connecting, but about the characteristics of the network that device is connected to. Expect that some of your users will come in over high latency, low bandwidth, unreliable connections, while at the same time other users are accessing with hundreds of megabits to spare. And we need to deliver a really great experience for all of those people. We have to figure out new ways to make money in this world. You know, we've gotten pretty good at monetizing on the web through advertising, but advertising in this world is different. How do you let your advertisers get their messages across when your users are driving down the road? How do you reach them when they're cooking dinner and they're up to their elbows in pizza dough? Or when they're relaxing with their families in front of the television with nothing but a remote control in their hands? We have to really think about how we're going to make these businesses make sense as businesses and not just as technologies. We have to get used to partnering again. You know, in many ways, one of the really cool things about what happened in 2004 was suddenly a couple of people could go into the basement, write some software, deploy it to the cloud, and a few weeks later, you'd have a consumer website up. It's really different than how things worked back in 1998. And you could do that, and through word of mouth would be your marketing mechanism, and suddenly you could build a company with, just sort of technologists and get it up and running and see if you could get some traction. But the world that I'm describing is different. It's full of gatekeepers. We need to, you need to partner with carriers, with network providers, with ISPs, with hardware manufacturers. You need to be as good at business development as you are at software development and scaling. You know, Pandora, we have an unbelievable BD team. They've done hundreds of deals, and I know that we'd still be puttering around with, 14, 15, 16 million users if it wasn't for the relationships that they've so carefully crafted. Finally, and I know a lot about this firsthand, get used to failing. We're inventing this new world every day. You expect to develop for hundreds of different platforms, many of which weren't around last year, won't be around next year. Expect to fail, try to learn, work to succeed. But mostly, I think you should be excited about this world. We have this tremendous opportunity to change everything. The opportunity is not just about, office workers chained to the computer at their desk at work. It's not about the home computer squirreled away in the den. This is about the real world, out where people live their lives, in their living rooms, in their kitchens, in their cars, out exploring. I think this is the biggest opportunity since the advent of the consumer internet itself. So I hope you'll join companies like Pandora and Netflix and Hulu and jump into this incredible new world. Let's make some things happen. Thanks, everybody.